Hello and welcome to Acoustic Review. My name is Ben Morgan Brown and today I'm looking at the TWU D from Tanglewood guitars. Tanglewood are one of the most well-known manufacturers in the UK with a wide range of guitars, and the new Union series sits at the beginning of that range. It features three models: a folk guitar, a folk cutaway and a dreadnought, which is the model I'm looking at today. The Union series dreadnought features a solid mahogany top, laminated mahogany back and sides, mahogany neck with an ebon core fingerboard with a 43mm nut and a scale length of 650mm. The bridge is black walnut, the guitar has maple binding and a satin finish, and has an RRP in the UK of £199. Let's listen to the guitar now and then come back afterwards and hear my thoughts. My first thoughts on sitting with the guitar was that it's quite a lightweight guitar, quite plain looking, but I did like the contrast that the maple binding gives to the mahogany top. I thought the build quality is quite high actually, but as to be expected at this price point, there's a few small imperfections in the fit and finish department. There's a few patches on the finish where the satin look is not quite even, and there's also a little bit of rough sanding on the bridge. Also, I did feel that the tuners, although perfectly workable, there were one or two that were a little bit stiff to use. It's quite an understated looking guitar with not a lot of details to get lost in, but it does have its own rootsy vibe, so it's not unattractive, it's just quite plain looking. The tone of the guitar matches its looks in some ways. It's quite simple, it's not the most complex in terms of overtones and richness, but it's quite an honest sounding guitar, quite dry like you would expect with a mahogany top. One thing I did find is that from the playing perspective it was quite full sounding, but when we actually listened back to the recording, some of that fullness was lost, so I'm not sure if the guitar is projecting a lot, but it was quite pleasurable actually, the sound from the playing position. So I suppose a lot of people who are buying this guitar, they're probably not going to be using it in the recording studio or in a performance situation. So the sound to the player is probably the most important thing to most people who are looking at this model. Fresh from the box, the new strings on the guitar do sound quite zingy, and there's a slight sort of scratchiness to the sound, but I think as the strings bed in, or if you change them for a brand of strings that you prefer that are a little bit warmer sounding, I don't think you'd have to worry about that too much, but that might be something to be aware of the first time you pick this guitar up in a store, just to be aware that those new string sounds are quite bright. I found the playability to be a little bit average. It was quite stiff down at the nut end, but I think that could be tweaked to make it play a little bit better. However, one thing I found was that fingerstyle playing was a little bit awkward due to the narrow nut width. On the other hand, that narrow nut width makes chording quite easy, so if you're a strummer who's mainly playing chords and not looking to do sort of intricate fingerstyle playing, this could be a guitar for you in that respect. With that in mind, I think the guitar would suit your typical dreadnought player, which is generally someone who's looking to play chords and strumming and accompanying themselves singing or other players. And obviously the guitar's aimed at beginners or advancing beginners, but I think you also might want to have a look at it if you're looking for a guitar that you can take out on a road trip that's cheaper than your main guitar. I think £199 is a fair price for a guitar of these specs, particularly with the solid wood mahogany top. My least favourite thing about this guitar was the unfortunate fact that the sound from the player's perspective didn't translate so well into the recording. But conversely, my favourite thing was from the player's perspective, it was a very nice guitar to play with a full sound. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and we look forward to seeing you next time on Acoustic Review.